Hello, welcome. This is Mark, and I'm having tea with Brooks. Brooks is actually here in Florida, giving some speaking engagements, and he is giving some time to actually talk with us on our show. And so, Brooks, you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
What's up, man? Good to see you, Mark. Good to be on your show. I'm Brooks Gibbs. Yeah, I got my tea today. It's unsweetened, pure leaf, real brewed tea. I know it's usually a hot tea thing, so let's get started right. All right. I'm actually at my cousin's house, so this is what he had in the fridge. Hopefully it's not like 2 years old.
That counts.
Pretty good. I'm a big tea fan. Yeah, so I'm Brooks. I specialize in the topic of bullying and helping students with the social skills they need to stop aggression. My passion is to help those kids who feel like victims and they don't know how to stop the mean behavior. I've been mentored and trained by school psychologist Izzy Kalman, who now lives in Israel, but spent 30 years in New York City as a school psychologist. And he's developed some really cool, empowering techniques to help kids, and really fun, using the golden rule, ancient wisdom, and showing the science behind it, that when you're nice to someone and when you're not getting upset, so you're resilient and you're nice, it's very difficult for them to stay mean to you. And just showing how that very simple solution works for a whole myriad of social conflict that we call bullying today.
Well, Brooks, one thing that I wanted to ask, because I think this is a very, great stuff what you're doing, but how did you get started in actually bullying?
Yeah, I got started pretty much in 1999. In Littleton, Colorado, there was a shooting called the Columbine High School shooting. And shortly after that shooting, I actually moved to Littleton. I grew up in South Texas, but I had an internship for radio, TV, film. And I was living in Littleton just 11 weeks after the shooting. And everyone considers Littleton, Colorado in 1999 the birthplace of the anti-bullying movement. Bullying was relatively not mentioned too much. But after that shooting, everyone said, we got to help people who feel like victims. So my friends went to, I was only 18 at the time, my friends went to Columbine, and they were getting invitations to speak all over the country. None of them were real speakers, but they had incredible stories about seeing their friends shot or surviving somehow. And so I would travel with them, they would share their gripping story, and then I would bring some practical application to the audience. Within 2 years after the shooting, we reached over 500,000 students face-to-face. And my career has just continued since, 17 years ago now, since the Columbine tragedy.
And that's quite an impact that you're certainly having on people. And you also founded a school called the Golden Rule. So you want to elaborate more about the Golden Rule?
Yeah, goldenruleschool.com is my website. And it's not a school, but it's really a network of schools that have said, we want to be a Golden Rule school. We have over 1,500 schools in our network that we've personally visited and trained, and we've taught them our techniques. Izzy Kalman and I have taught them our techniques to resolving aggression on campus. And so a Golden Rule school, first and foremost, says when it comes to name calling, verbal insults, pushing and shoving, social exclusion, choosing between friends, adult intimidation, fear, all the 7 or 8 behaviors that we call bullying, we have a Golden Rule approach to help both parties learn how to treat each other the way they want to be treated. Our Golden Rule schools don't use the word bully. If you thesaurus it, it means punk, loser, jerk, meanie. It's a judgment term. And so I wouldn't want someone calling me a bully or a liar or whatever. So the Golden Rule demands that I don't call someone else a bully. So we get rid of those. The first thing we do with the school is we get rid of those terms, and we focus on the psychological dynamics of aggression. And instead of viewing it as bully victim, we look at it 2 great kids that are really either in conflict or a very aggressive kid. And so it really helps kind of remove the hysteria and really approach it with wisdom, which the golden rule is a wisdom teaching.
That's really great, teaching, the golden rule. But from what I understand, like, people interpret the golden rule differently, right? Each person has their own interpretation about what the golden rule actually is. What's the interpretation that you teach?
Well, Mark, let me ask you, what is the golden rule?
Treat others as you like to be treated.
Nice. Everyone give him a round of applause. Let's do a cheers.
Let's hear.
All right. That's the most important social skill ever invented. The golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated, or the way you want to be treated. Before that, it was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That was Jesus' version. Hillel, a Jew rabbi, says, whatever is hateful to you, do not do to others. So he had the same concept, but he inverted it. Even before Hillel, even before Jesus, it was in the ancient wisdom, or the law, the Hebrew law. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. 2,400 years ago, 400 years before Christ existed, Aristotle, a great philosopher, said if we all lived by the golden rule, he didn't use that term, but he used the concept of the ethic of reciprocity, which is the same concept. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If we lived that way, we wouldn't need government. We'd be a self-policing, peaceful society. So people say, okay, that's great. Golden rule, treat others, be nice, right? If you get simple, be nice. But actually, Jesus had the greatest summation of the golden rule. He mentions the golden rule in Matthew 7, but at the beginning of that whole discourse in Matthew 5, he summed it up this way: love your enemies. And that's really what the golden rule means. The golden rule is not treat nice people nicely. The golden rule is treat people nicely when they're nice, treat people nicely when they're mean, treat all people, no matter how they are, the way you want to be treated, which is nice. So let me ask you a question, Mark. How do you want to be treated? If I gave you a choice, how would you want to be treated? Like a friend or like an enemy? It's your choice.
Like a friend.
Yeah. Everyone says the same thing, unless they're being ornery, like some of these little 7th grade pimply face, strung out on Mountain Dew, snotty nosed, punk ornery kids. Sometimes they'll say, I want to be treated like an enemy. But if they're really honest, they'll say, I want to be treated like a friend. So we at Golden Rule School, we've totally remixed the golden rule to actually say this. The golden rule remix is treat everyone like friends, because that's how you want to be treated. And so people say, well, hold up, wait a minute, put a little love in it. How do I treat everyone like friends? What if they're not being friendly to me? What if they're my enemy? Are you telling me to treat my enemy like a friend? Yes. The golden rule, if you really think about it, assumes that you're dealing with an enemy. Because remember, it's a social skill. And so social skills help us do difficult things. That's why they're called skills. We don't need a social skill to teach us how to be nice to nice people. We need a social skill to teach us how to be nice to mean people. And so the golden rule was given to us not to teach us how to be nice to nice people, but how to be nice to mean people. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And if you really, really, really geek out about the golden rule, it is assuming you're dealing with an enemy. If it assumes you're dealing with a friend, it would say treat others the way they treat you. But instead, it says, now, you probably have a punk in your life. So treat them not the way they're treating you, because they're treating you bad. Treat them the way you want to be treated. And the amazing thing about that, as we learn through science, and Izzy Kalman, school psychologist, has really brought this to light. He says the reason why the golden rule is so powerful is because as I'm being nice to you, you have a very difficult time staying mean to me. So can I play a game with you so we could show our audience what this is like?
Yes.
Okay. In this game, you're going to call me an idiot. Your whole goal is to be mean. Don't try to worry about, hurting my feelings. You can't hurt my feelings. I'm not going to take it personal. Don't keep talking, don't just like a motor mouth. Have a conversation with me. We're going to interact, all right? And so you're going to be mean. You can call me an idiot. I'm going to try to get you to stop. And if I stop you from being mean, I win. But if I cannot stop you, you win. So your only goal is to be mean and don't stop, okay?
Wow.
All right, here we go.
Start now?
Start by calling me an idiot. I'm going to try to stop you. Don't let me stop you. So on the count of 3, call me an idiot. 1, 2, 3.
You're an idiot.
Shut up.
You're a jerk.
No, you're a jerk. You be quiet.
Your breath stinks.
My breath stinks? This is the internet, you nerd. I hate you.
I smell your breath from here.
Oh, that's not true. I have very fresh smelling breath.
Well, you have hair in your face.
I don't even know what you're saying. You better back off, man. I'm gonna cyberbully you.
Well, I think you're a punk.
You're a punk. I hate you. Stop it. Stop it right now. Come on, don't give up. Be mean.
Well, you're a loser.
Oh, that hurts my feelings.
Well, you're a big loser.
Oh, shut up. Okay, good. I can't stop you. You did really good. I hope your kids or something are not listening in the other room. They're like, Dad's being mean. Okay, let's play it one more time. Same rules. You call me an idiot. You be mean to me. I'm going to try something a little different. Okay, so action. Go.
You're an idiot.
Oh, hey, Mark, you think I'm an idiot?
Yeah, you're a big idiot.
Yeah, I'm like a ginormous idiot. It's true. It's true. You're so smart.
And your breath really stinks.
That's a great joke. We're on the webcam and you think my breath, you're really funny.
I think that you're a loser.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like a loser. My sister says I'm a loser. Yeah, you're a winner. That's for sure.
Well, I tell you that, you know, I see what's going on here.
You give up? It sounds like you gave up.
I give up.
Okay, let me ask you 2 questions. Which time was easy for you to be mean to me? The first or the second time?
The first time.
Yeah, why was that easy for you?
Because actually, you know, you were giving it back to me, so I was giving it back to you, so it's like we're having an exchange.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King put it this way: hatred creates more hatred, violence creates more violence, anger creates more anger, and it's an all-descending spiral leading to destruction for all. Which time was super difficult to be mean to me, first or the second time?
It was the second time. Very difficult.
Why?
Because actually you were being nice, and when you're being nice, I find it very difficult to be mean.
Yeah, Grandma called it kill him with kindness. It's very difficult. See, when I'm mean to you, I'm treating you like an enemy. And if I treat you like an enemy, you'll probably stay my what? Enemy. But if I don't get upset and I'm resilient, I treat you like a friend. You may not be my friend, but you'll certainly stop because it's very difficult for a mean person to stay mean. And this simple presentation of the Golden Rule game, this simple truth about human relation and aggression, it's so powerful and kids get it so quickly. So essentially, when a victim comes to me and they say, oh, I've been bullied, I don't know what to do, you know, I simply say, well, number one, don't get upset. No matter what they say, don't get upset. They may make fun of your face, your race, your religion, or your mama. Don't get upset, because their whole goal is to get you upset. But number two, treat them like a friend. Don't be friends with them, but be friendly to them. And as you're not getting upset and you're treating them like a friend, you'll bring peace. This is the international sign for peace. So it's really easy for kids to remember this simple principle. And I'm so busy, dude. I continue to travel and speak, and it's being received so well all around the country.
This is awesome. It's about communication, right? Like, and some people have difficulty communicating, expressing themselves. Is that correct?
That is true. And a lot of people say, well, do you have to be really quick and witty to do this? What if my kid hasn't developed fully in his ability to articulate things? He's not witty or fast. It's simple. You could say, oh, that's a good one. You know, your response doesn't have to be sophisticated. I've heard some people say so. So when someone insults them, they just say so. The point is, don't get upset. See, all the bullying experts say bullying is an imbalance of power, meaning someone has the power over you, the power to drive you crazy. It has nothing to do with muscles or size. It just has the ability to emotionally manipulate. And so if they're talking to you, I hate your guts, and you're like, shut up, then you lose if you're getting upset, and they win. And if you're losing, they will love it. And that's why they say it's an imbalance of power, pleasure from pain, and it's repeated over time. It's a game about winning and losing. And if they can hurt your feelings, they win and you lose. So the answer is to empower the victim. Whoever feels like the weak one, empower them with what? With two things, resilience and the golden rule. So they might say, I hate your guts. But then the resilient kid could say, that's nice, just not getting upset. Then that person feels like they're losing, and they might say, you know, they will get worse before it gets better. They might say, you smell like body odor, you're nasty. But then this, you know, resilient kid can say, thanks for the information. And then they really lose, and right before they bail, they'll get really mean. Your face is ugly. You can say, you have a face of an angel, sweet cheeks. And so just be playful, be simple, you know, resilient and friendly. They'll leave you alone, and you'll be the winner. It's really teaching kids how to win when they've got an enemy in their life.
It's a gift of knowledge that you provide, right? It's like this is a gift for people having this knowledge about, it's all like conflict resolution, right?
Yeah, certainly. I like to call it wisdom. And where the wisdom comes in is being understand why these people are being. You know, some kids say, they're calling me fat. And I say, well, are there other fat kids in your class? The kid will say, yeah. And I say, are they being called fat too? And the kid coming to me is saying, no. I said, well, then why are they calling you fat? Is it really your blubber that the kid cares about? No. Yeah, he doesn't care about blubber or fat or anything like that. Really, could it be that he loves driving you crazy? He has a satisfaction of evoking out of you a negative reaction. See, if it wasn't your fat if you didn't get upset, he's going to try something else, maybe your glasses. And he doesn't care about it, your disability, your insecurity. He doesn't care too much about any of the surface things that you think, the way you're dressed, what nationality you are. He really just care about getting you upset. And that's where the wisdom is when you teach kids, oh, you mean they're just trying to make me angry and hurt my feelings? That's right. And guess what? You're the boss of your feelings. So you can decide that words are not going to hurt you. And if you decide that they're not going to hurt you and you treat them like a friend, you will, as Grandma said, kill them with kindness.
That's awesome. But where does like fear come into play? Who's the one that's fearful?
Well, usually the victim is afraid. So who feels like a victim? Oftentimes I find a kid asked me the other day, he said, how do I get this kid to stop chasing me? And I said, stop running. Don't be afraid. And then I asked a follow-up question. Does he have a history? Does this kid that's chasing you have a history of criminal violence or sending kids to the hospital or fighting people? And the boy said, no. I said, so you're not afraid that he's going to beat you up, right? No. Well, then what are you afraid of? I don't know. Well, if you stop running, knowing he's not going to beat you up, and you look to him and say, what would you like? You know, he wants you to be afraid. He wants to intimidate you like he's going to do a gesture of fighting. But if you know he doesn't have a history of violence, he's probably not going to hurt you. Then don't be afraid. It's not going to work. So there's a lot of reasons why we're afraid. We're afraid of someone pointing out our flaw. We're afraid of someone beating us up. We're afraid of being rejected by others. Fear comes to play at the foundation of all disturbances. That's why one of our rules is do not be afraid. Don't live in fear, because that's what people want.
Bullies want to get a reaction from the other person. And I like this whole entire thing about reacting counter to what the person is. How about do you talk about setting boundaries with others?
Well, of course we say no one can cause harm to your body or your property. That's called a crime. So this includes physical assault, sexual assault, vandalism, destruction of property, stealing. These are all crimes that we have laws against them for decades, millennia. Yes, of course, this is my body from my toes to my top. When I say no, you better stop. Uh, but most of the issues that kids deal with are not criminal in nature. They're targeted at not hurting their body or causing objective harm, but rather hurting their emotions, causing subjective harm, hurting their feelings. And so, is there a boundary for feelings? You could tell kids all day, you are not going to try to hurt my feelings, or you are not going to call me names. Good luck with that. Because if you try to draw a boundary and say, you have no right treating me this way, which is really what anti-bullying experts are trying to teach kids right now. Stand up, be assertive. That's silly. Give people permission to exercise their constitutional right of free speech, to think negatively and speak negatively of you if they want. Just don't take it personal, and they won't want to speak negatively of you anymore. That's the power. The power remains in the person saying, say whatever you want. I'm not going to get upset.
How about the person doing the bullying? What, like, do you communicate or work with these people as well? I mean, the golden rule, right, to the person that's doing the bullying, the golden rule should be applicable to these people as well, right?
Well, absolutely. A lot of people say, well, Brooks, why do you just deal with the victims of bullying? Why in the world don't you address the bullies? And I would say, I have been. This entire time we've been talking, I've been talking about bullies. No, Brooks, you've been talking about victims. Yes, I have been talking about victims, you're right, and bullies. Let me put it this way. All bullying behavior comes from a victimization complex. So when I go to a school and the principal says, Brooks, let me introduce you to our class bully, I talk with the kid and I say, so you're the bully, huh? The kid says, I'm not a bully. And I'm like, well, the principal told me you did this to that guy and you said that to that girl. That's a very bullying thing to do. And then they come back, that's because he did this to me and she said that to me. I said, oh, so you're a victim. Yeah, I'm a victim. See, they are justified in their retaliation of meanness. It almost always is. All prejudice comes from a victimization complex. So, I don't like your kind because I think you ruined our neighborhoods when you came in, or I think that you guys are stupid and taking all the jobs. And, everything says I'm a victim. So when you address the victimization complex and essentially victim-proof students, you kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, and you bully-proof schools when you victim-proof students.
This is awesome. Look, this is totally awesome. I'm really loving it.
Cool.
And in terms of, bullying, right? I mean, not just students bully, right? I mean, there's bullying at the workplace, right? So
Yeah.
do you work with, adults as well?
Today I did a mental health conference in West Palm Beach for the abused and neglected children or something, some South Florida big organization. Afterwards, this lady in her mid-30s came to me and, with tears in her eyes. She's saying, I know you were teaching us how to help kids, but all this really is helping me deal with the people at my workplace that I've just been miserable. And you're showing me how to make friends and manage my enemies. And that's exactly right. So while we focus on student behavior, and that's primarily what I do through Golden Rule School, the natural effect is that it helps everyone grow in wisdom, the teachers and the drama that's on the staff, the administrators and their perceived enemies, which might be the parents, the counselors and the corporate drama that they face on a daily basis. So we don't have a corporate version of like Golden Rule Workplace. I do own the .com. I also own goldenrulefamily.com, and I own goldenrulechurch.com, which means we want to expand in the areas of all four quadrants: education, the family, the workplace, and the religious facilities. But right now, we're focusing on the school.
I gotcha. But, bringing things to adults or whatever, someone's at the workplace, right? And they are being confronted by someone that is bullying. the same approach definitely could apply, right? So the person could go to the person and have the opposite effect, right? So it'd be nice to the person who's being aggressive, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as long as nothing criminal is happening. With adults, with kids, rumors are not going to have a big impact on a kid. They're not going to lose their job. You can't call that libel, for example, which is a criminal, because free speech does have its limits. You can't yell fire in a crowded room. You can't incite violence. I'm going to fight you, because that's like an act of violence. And you can't slander someone's character in the public if it will harm their job. So definitely in the workplace, you have to be careful. If someone's sowing dissension and effectively might end my work, well, then that's an HR legal issue, because they are trying to ruin your job. But if they're just being a punk, if they're being mean, then yes, the same rules apply. This is non-criminal behavior aimed at hurting your feelings, making your life miserable, and you're going to have to learn how to manage them. It's called diplomacy. And if you learn the social skill of diplomacy, you actually will rise in the corporate ladder if the higher-ups see that virtue or that value that you have to offer. Are you able to deal with difficult people? Are you able to get a project done despite the irrational, narcissists that are working on the project? If you can demonstrate social and emotional health working with extremely difficult people, you become a very valuable asset, and it will actually help you.
That's awesome. I really like this golden rule. I was reading about it, and I think it's really, a powerful tool to have, because pretty much you can go anywhere in life following this golden rule, because people, like, you'll attract a lot more people into your life. You will have a lot less enemies, and it seems like a win-win situation for a way of life, And I could see probably, in schools, like with students, they don't need to feel like victims anymore, But, a question I want to ask you, maybe you could help some people out as well, because there are people out there that are extremely victimized. Either they have been teased a lot, made fun of a lot in school. They're afraid, the parents were very mean to them. Maybe they were abusive parents, and they're very, they very scared, nervous. The grades aren't to par. They're going nowhere. What advice can you give someone that feels like this whole entire victimized thing? Like, what advice would you give someone, to help them?
Yeah, you actually described me in middle school. I've got cuts up and down my wrist where I would cut myself in middle school. I went to 3 different middle schools in 3 years to get away from bullying, and I was in special education all those years. They were the most miserable time of my life. I had suicidal ideation. I had run-ins with CPS, checking me for bruises and stuff like that. And I had an alcoholic father who would not beat me, but would neglect me a lot, which is another form of abuse. He'd be gone for a week or two, sometimes on travel, and so I was a hot mess. I was just a mess. What do you do with those kids? Well, there's 2 ways you could approach them. You could think like an attorney, or you could think like a counselor. So if I came to you as a victim in middle school and I said, please help me, my life is miserable, I don't know what to do, and you're an attorney, the proper answer for attorney is saying you're an innocent victim, you've done nothing wrong, you have been victimized. It is my job to change the world around you to accommodate your sensitivities and your weaknesses. And if anyone has caused any distress, I will punish them to the full extent of the law. I'm your attorney. You're innocent. They are guilty. And if I need to demonize them in the court of law, I will do that just so that we can make our case. Because we all know court is not about the truth, but about who can win the argument. So an attorney's thinking that way. My client is innocent, and everyone has to change around him. So the attorney doesn't actually do anything for the victim directly. He tries to help the victim indirectly by changing the world around him. But let's say you're a counselor, and I come to you saying, I'm a miserable middle schooler, I feel like I'm going to die, I'm a victim. Well, a counselor knows that they can't change the world around the victim. They would have to work directly with every individual in their lives over a long period of time. Plus, all those people would have to want to change. The psychologist is under no delusion that the world is going to change around this victim. But what the counselor will do is show the victim how they are contributing to the problem, how they can process the negative events. Even if it was a horrific victim, like a true victim, a true crime, they've been sexually abused, they've been physically abused, they have been ridiculed relentlessly. No matter what it is, criminal or non-criminal, what that counselor will do is, first of all, make sure all crimes are stopped. But once the kid is safe, then you could say, look, how are you going to process the events that happened to you? And they're probably going to lean back on cognitive behavioral therapy, whose grandfather was Albert Ellis, that says, you know, yes, you may have been victimized, but you disturbed yourself if you processed it in a way that destroyed you. Most depression is self-inflicted. We know there's chemical imbalances and stuff like that, not to negate chronic depression. But you know, a lot of kids are being depressed just because they something bad has happened to them, and they, oh no, my life is over, and they're in this trap. So a good counselor will say, I'm going to show you how to change your thoughts about what happened, change your words about the person that did that to you, and change your actions about how you're going to respond to that person. In other words, the counselor helps the person directly, absolutely directly, knowing that they can't change the world around them, but they can change them, which ultimately change their world.
Wow. That's awesome. You know, I really got a lot out of this. And you know what? I work in a workplace, you know, I work in an office, and I'm definitely going to really start applying what we talked about to my actual daily life. Because like, I can really see the big picture, and I can really see, you know, what this can do. You know, I deal with difficult people on the phone, you know, people don't want to cooperate, and just being nice, it makes it a lot harder for someone to be difficult, you know? So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I know that you got a lot going on, and I just want to say I really do appreciate you taking the time for being on tonight, and I look forward to hearing from you again. And before we sign off, you want to have some last word to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, you know, goldenruleschool.com is a website everyone can visit. We offer school assemblies, but we also do professional development training for schools and stuff. You know, ultimately what we teach is love. And one of my favorite passages is in 1 Corinthians 13. It says, love is two things. Love is patient and love is kind. The original version of that scripture says, love suffers long, or has the ability to suffer for a long time, and can be kind. And that really is all we teach. Resilience and kindness. Don't get upset, treat them like a friend. And when you do these two things, you become a peaceful person that can look at an aggressor and say, look, you say whatever you want to me. You can be as mean as you want, but I'm not going to get upset. And I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated. Even though you're not treating me right, I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to let them take advantage of you or criminalize, you know, do some sort of criminal behavior or you know, sometimes, you know, the golden rule demands that we protect ourselves and stop other people from causing harm. So it's not a pie in the sky passivity, but it's literally saying, look, if you're shooting somebody and you come in with a bazooka and you're starting to shoot the workplace, it's the loving thing for me to kill you to stop shooting people. If you're trying to criminalize me and rape me or whatever, if I was a female, it would be the loving, kind, golden rule thing to do to stop you from committing a crime. So I don't want people to think the golden rule lets people get away with bad things, but rather it empowers you to deal with people in a way that you'll be able to sleep at night to say, they were punks, but I lived with integrity, patient, kind. So peace out. Thanks for having me, Mark.
All right, thank you very much.
Hey.